they did is they made some overtures and some gestures, and they helped create a task force, and they allowed some things to happen. But what they didn't do is pay any real actual like hardcore attention, and they didn't put any true resource to it, like they would the planning commission or the sustainable transportation. Like, I would love for race equity to get half the look that either of those places get, but they don't get any. And so now what you're seeing is everybody has screwed up so bad, whether it's task force members or city staff or council members. Everybody's got a role in the screw up here, and it's getting so bad that the people who know how process works are understanding, yeah, that's because we didn't set this up properly. And so what we need to do is actually build structure and support around this at every level, so that we can meet the needs that this needs, not just hope that we can form a task force and they'll give us the answers and this goes away. So you know. Cool. A lot of grinding away to get there, but I think it's clearly starting to get the attention it deserves. So hopefully it does. Next up,
what was next up? Hold on.
If you hear the words disperse, what do we do? Get into the cars in which you came. There are 3 feedback cars. Just a few cars behind our back line.
When Malcolm was marching, it wasn't the way. When Fred, the way we're marching now, they still say it's not the way. We asked for it, they refused to help us. So we're taking what we need. That's all I got. Right now.
Every community was against what he was doing, against what Malcolm X was doing. But after changes made, after people pass, then they get celebrated. Then it happens. I encourage you before the change. I encourage you to help join us next time, because if you are inconvenienced, imagine being every single day. All right, we're gonna head back to our
Ross got tow truck up. Bye.
businesses. All right, folks, that is our show today. We are at the 36:35 mark.
That's plenty of time to be talking about the city. Hey, Thursday, there is a ethics board meeting.
Whoa. Even joking. I have two I need to submit. So
I checked the public records request. Supposedly there are no currently stacked up like planes flying into LaGuardia. There are
want to bet? Looks like I just got my what I'm doing for the rest of this morning.
Know what you're doing this time?
All right, folks, thank you for listening to this episode of the Wake Up Bainbridge Show with Richie and Sally. We are brought to you today by the Minsky team at Charter Real Estate. They have a listing on Madison Avenue. They need to sell it. You need to buy it because they are our advertisers. So that's how this works. So there's addresses on the side. Shannon, Terry, their emails are there. Their phone numbers are there. If you're buying or selling property, you should rock that out. Richard, thank you for a good show. Also to our other Bainbridge Online Broadcasting.
Still, last night the same thing happened, right? I had to go to bed right after the city council meeting because I was tired.
That thing wiped me out emotionally.
It's a smoke. It was a smoke making me tired, and it's interrupting my sleep.
It's all the smoke in the room.
I don't know. But right before I go to bed, I say to myself,
Hola, ñaña. Sí.
hijo, weón!
Permiso, permiso. Mira cómo la tiene, ¿no?
Sí. Déjalo ese weón en el... Mira cómo la tení, weón. ¿Cómo la tenía ahí, weón? No puede ser así. ¿Cómo si... Pero la tienen tus compañeros, po. ¿Cómo no la tienen conciencia? ¿Vos crees que le tengo miedo a un palo, weón? Viví con un coche de madre que casi me mata, weón. Un palo más, un palo menos, me da la misma weá. Asqueroso culiao. Perkin de los ricos culiaos. Matan a sus mujeres, violan, roban y más encima se los cagan con las casas los hueones.
Los ricos, los pacos y los milicos son perros de los ricos. Los pacos y los milicos son perros de los ricos. Son perros de los ricos. Sigan a una sola. ¿Qué mierda les iba a hacer?
Son ahueonados y juran que juegan en Irak, culiao. Se le hace todo con los narcos a los hueones.
Haciéndole caso al poderoso.
Querían pantalla. Se van a quedar solos los culiaos porque no pueden obligar a ser. No están hueonas para ser Paco. Ahí está la Ada.
Esto es lo que hacen los criminales, los terroristas. Este es el trabajo que hacen estos asesinos.
Sin cerebro, los culiados.
Después de que le dispararon 100 balas, weón, se lo llevan. Asesinos culiados, weón. Que lo toquen, weón. Que lo toquen. Y al niño que se llevaron, weón, lo torturaron en la PDI hace 3 días, weón, y se lo llevan de nuevo. ¡Asesinos culiados!
Nosotros estamos manifestando por nuestro hijo. Este es
Pero se llegaron a cagar cuando les balearon una pendeja, ¿cierto?
¡Con la comunidad! ¡Asesinos de mierda! ¡Son unos asesinos! ¡No les da vergüenza, weón! ¡Están todos duros, más vivos la mierda! ¡Vamos, luchemos, luchar! ¡Otra vez! ¡Puedes andar tomando detenido un niño, mierda! ¡Mira para la wea!
Response. So why do you think many countries don't trust President Trump right now?
Look, this president has led the greatest response to COVID. I've already walked through how well we're doing vis-a-vis the rest of the world. Also worth noting, U.S. we had the smallest economic contraction of any major Western country in the first half of the year. Also want to note that in 2019, real median household income grew by more. This is last year alone. Real median household income grew by more than all 8 years of Obama-Biden. And in 2019, so last year, real median household income for African Americans rose 8%, and that is more than double the gains of Obama Biden in 8 years. So this president has led economically. He's led on COVID. And when you look at what he did just yesterday with these landmark peace agreements that haven't been done in a quarter of a century, but President Trump made it happen. He is a great diplomat, a great peacemaker, and I think him being nominated for 2 Nobel Prizes says it all.
Yeah, just can I ask you on the great success story you've talked about COVID. In the richest country in the world, you have 4% of the global population and 24% of the coronavirus deaths. How is that a success story?
Yeah, when you look at, again, we have Europe has 28% higher excess mortality rate.
No, look at the global numbers that I'm giving you, which is 4% of the population, 24% of the deaths from COVID. Isn't that how can that be a success?
And I'm giving you the numbers that we believe are very indicative of where we stand vis-a-vis the rest of the world. Excess mortality is an indicator that takes into account the percent deaths above what would occur without a pandemic. It counts the excess mortality, and what we see is that we are 28% under Europe. You have to look at this holistically. You have to look at total and aggregate, how many deaths have occurred in this country, and compare that to Europe in the excess mortality rate and case fatality and testing. We have exceeded in our response, and this president is very proud of the great work that this administration has done.
Yeah. Is Michael Caputo welcome back after his 60-day leave after urging his followers on Facebook to stock up on ammunition?
I'm not going to weigh into any personnel matters. As you know, he has taken a leave of absence that was announced just before I came out here. But what I will weigh into is the Middle East peace deal signed yesterday that I did not receive a single question about. That was the first time it's happened in a quarter of a century. If Obama and Biden had achieved this, there would look a lot different. You wouldn't have Chuck Todd saying he's uncomfortable with the deal that brings peace between the United Arab Emirates and Israel and Bahrain. You wouldn't have CBS calling it, quote, a business deal, and you wouldn't have Nancy Pelosi calling it a distraction. Maybe it's a distraction from her visits to the hair salon, but those were significant agreements. First time in a quarter of a century, 3 peace deals in 29 days. Took 26 years for the prior 2 peace deals. So this, the Nobel Peace Prize nomination for the president, 2 of them, very well deserved. Thank you.
Haley, if he's a law and order president, why does he keep breaking the law?
Hey everybody, stop clicking around. I am in the woods with some water going in the background near my house, and in the next 30 seconds I'm going to show you how to use this solar power bank from 4 Patriots to charge 2 huge devices at the same time. I'm also going to show you how you never have to run out of battery power for your phone ever again, even if you're in a dire situation. And that's because I'm holding a Patriot power cell, or what I call a pocket backup power factory. It fits anywhere, and see to my hand, and it packs so much power inside this thing to charge your devices. It even charges 2 devices at the same time. So you can see right now that it is charging this iPad, which is currently at 1%. You can see that the lights are going, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in a second device. Now this even works. I don't know how many ads you've seen for solar gadgets that crack or get wet or stop working after a few uses. You really have to pamper, but not this thing. This thing is...
was not revealed in any context like that. The petition also does not explain why, even if Councilmember Swan had done any of that, which she did not, and because fundamentally this is a political conversation we're having, in addition to the legal one, I think it's important for me to stress that again, has not explained how it meets the high standard of malfeasance, misfeasance, or violation of the oath of office. You know, counsel today starts by saying, well, she violated the Washington Address Confidentiality Program. Well, I went through the petition with a fine-tooth comb. I see an allegation of that Councilmember Sawant violated the intimidating a public servant statute. That's RCW 9A.76180. But that involves a threat to use force against any person who is present to influence a vote. And there are no facts alleged that support that. The petition contains an allegation that Councilmember Sawant violated RCW 9A.46, which is a whole big title. There's no explanation of what provision in that statute she might have violated or what facts are being alleged that might have sustained such a violation. Similarly, there's an allegation she violated the Seattle Charter, she violated her oath of office. Again, no facts, no explanation, either legal or factual, as to how that's supporting this recall petition. Finally, they claim she violated the Washington State Address Confidentiality Program. I went through the statutes involving the Washington State Address Confidentiality Program. We have seen no chapter, no section, no provision that nothing has been cited to you that says, not my burden to try to, and not your burden to try to go through every statute and every reference in the RCW to the Washington State Address Confidentiality Program, trying to figure out under what theory Councilmember Sawant might be claimed to have violated. In the petitioner's brief, they then throw in provisions of the Seattle Municipal Code. But that's a clear example of what I would characterize as larding up the petition. The petition does not say Councilmember Sawant violated a provision of the Seattle Municipal Code by divulging the mayor's residence address. The brief says it. It's not in the petition. It's not before you as a legal basis for the petition. And that is not the kind of thing that can be fixed or remedied through a brief. It's not like an affidavit clarifying some potentially ambiguous fact. So for those reasons, we think that that second aspect of this recall petition is not factually or legally sufficient. Delegating the personnel and voting decisions is frankly an even simpler argument because it is well established, including in Ray Bolt, which I cited to you before, that personnel decisions are discretionary. They are fundamental discretion who Councilmember Sawant decides to hire, who she decides to fire. I don't know that I saw in the petition the allegation that it's not there, that she gave Socialist Alternative Party authority over her voting choices. That was a new thing thrown out today, as I see it. The allegation who are have done the far and away the most thinking about these kinds of questions, the ethics questions, had no problem. Mr. Wayne Barnett had no problem saying she gets to hire and fire whoever she wants. The fact that, unlike perhaps certain Democratic and Republican politicians who may at most pay lip service to the local or regional or national platforms of their party, but in fact may vote in the way that they find personally appealing or politically advantageous. Whereas Councilmember Sawant openly says she sees herself as part of a vanguard party, and she takes very seriously the positions and opinions of Socialist Alternative. This is not a vanity activity for Councilmember Sawant, voting however she wants on city council matters. She takes party insight and ideology extremely seriously. The fact that she may consult, and the evidence, frankly, that's been presented to you and as alleged, is really that other people think that she might take the guidance of other people in the party. There's nothing really alleged that she ever did. In fact, I've left out the most obvious things that is wrong with this allegation, because I think it's a little shocking to accuse her of a recallable offense by who she hires and fires. But we started out by saying that under the factual sufficiency test with specificity, you have to give a detailed description of the approximate date, location, and nature of each act complained of. Again, that's N. Ray Bull. And reading the petition, and even reading the petitioner's brief, you have no idea who it is she supposedly. So for those reasons, this idea that she committed a recallable offense through hiring and firing decisions is clearly frivolous. That leads us to the final allegation, which suddenly, for the first time, we hear from Mr. McKay, that the allegation is that she used city resources to support a tax Amazon ballot initiative. Your Honor, I need to turn your attention to section B of the petition, because it doesn't say that. It says, and it's one paragraph, half of a page on page 3. Councilmember Swan has used her official office equipment to promote and raise money for a ballot initiative. And I hardly know where to begin with how factually insufficient that is. She used her official office equipment. Did she use her computer? Did she use her phone? Did she use a fax machine? How much did she use it? And that's important because, as you're aware, and as I've mentioned already, there is a substantiality requirement of a recall petition. And I would cite to you again from NRA recall of Sandhouse, 134 Washington 2nd at 668. Legal sufficiency means the charges must state with specificity substantial conduct, clearly amounting to misfeasance, malfeasance, or violation of the oath of office. Based on the allegations in the petition, which are not fleshed out any further in any of the supporting documentation, this could be as much as 1 2-minute phone call made on a City of Seattle telephone line. That would clearly not be a substantial violation of anything, certainly not substantial misconduct sufficient to justify a recall, even if it had happened. We have this other detail, which is that now that counsel says, well, we're talking about tax Amazon, we have what I think of as sort of a legal impossibility problem, which is that the petition says that this misconduct took place between January and February of 2020. But we presented to you from the public record that the tax Amazon ballot initiative was not filed with the City of Seattle until months after that. So there is literally no way that Councilmember Sawant could have provided unlawful support to the tax Amazon ballot measure at a time that it was legally a ballot proposition. I will also represent to you that the public record is devoid of any evidence that any other ballot proposition had been filed in the City of Seattle during the January-February 2020 time period. But I appreciate that Mr. McKay has clarified he's talking about tax Amazon. Finally, we actually would get back to the test if you are actually claiming that Councilmember Sawant violated the law. this test, which I was talking about before, about the need for the petitioner to demonstrate not only that the official intended to commit the act, but that the official intended to act unlawfully.
Намираме се пред сградата на Софийския университет. Протестиращите тръгнаха от площад Независимост. Виждате кадри на протестното шествие, което се отправя отново към Орлов мост, който последните 2 седмици беше вдигнал блокадата, но тази вечер протестиращите са отново силно гневни, бесни на Борисов и неговото управление, особено раздразнени от Цвета Караянчева и случката днес по-рано в фоайето на Народното събрание, когато майките от системата ни убива бяха извличани заедно с техните поддръжници като чували. Това даде нов тласък на протеста, който сега се е запътил към Орлов мост, както ви казах. Ето го и депутата Явор Божанков. Тук на интересно превозно средство мина преди малко, както и други депутати от БСП са в шествието. Отправяме се и ние към Орлов мост. Да видим дали протестиращите ще подновят блокадата отново, дали отново ще бъдат издигнати палатки и отново дали ще бъде издигнат Орлов град. Там отново очаквайте нашата Орлов мост. Блокирана е целият цар-освободител. И отново, може би, Орлов мост. Малко по-късно очаквайте нашите включвания отново. представете се, кажете ни, отново ли ще се възстанови Орловград? Палатките отново ли ще бъдат поставени тук?
Това, честно казано, никой не може да каже, тъй като всеки ден е сам за себе си. Както виждате, събитията се случват неочаквано и днешния ден е един такъв пример.
Тоест съвсем спонтанно протеста се изнесе от площад Независимост и дойде тук на Оров мост.
Имах предвид хората, които решиха да стоят в партийния дом с искане на оставката на Борисов, правителството и Гешев, което за жалост не се случи и бяха изнесени покъртително унизително.
Точно така. От 2 седмици Орлов мост беше така освободен от палатки. Затова днеска има, може би, нов акцент, може би гнева на протеста нарасна, за да си изсипа отново тук на Орлов мост.
Ние всяка вечер сме тук. Реално може да няма палатки, може да няма град, но хората всяка вечер са тук.
За известно време и после освобождават кръстовището?
Ами да, за жалост се уморихме, нали, да седиме по цяла нощ, остават малко и протеста се мени. Орловград си свърши работата до онзи момент. Показа колко много различни хора могат да живеят заедно, без проблеми, в името на протеста, в името на това нещата да започнат да се променят.
Благодаря ви много. Уважаеми зрители, ние оставаме тук, за да ви покажем малко атмосфера. Както разбрахте, съвсем спонтанно протестът тръгна от площад Независимост и както всяка вечер, така разбрахме, всъщност свършва тук на Орлов мост. Палатки не се виждат и организатори, които отново да опъват палатки или по някакъв начин да се барикадират на Орлов мост. Най-вероятно тук отново ще се събере целият протест, за да извика силно оставка за правителството на Борисов и неговия кабинет. Мутриван, 70-ти ден, хората се опитват да изгонят мутрите от властта, властта се крие от тях, а когато не се крие, е способна на какви ли не мерзости, такива каквито днес видяхме след обеда да се случват в фоайето на Народното събрание, когато майки от системата ни убива заедно с едно народа, оставка за Борисов и мафията. Продължаваме да ви показваме атмосфера от протестите. Останете с нас.
You want it with this filter?
Yeah.
Okay. me know if that's okay. You're welcome. Or should I get closer?
Yeah. A little bit.
Take a look. I can do him over.
Yeah, that's good. It's all good.
It's good?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jord? Is that like German? What does that mean? Going for some people to order food. Yeah. I'm gonna take a look at DoorDash. Try to see if we got opening slots. I multi-apped yesterday, but I missed all the offers because I didn't hear the notification. But I changed it. Even though I had the how the orders come through. So would Door tell you that you have orders? So I added that number that they send the message from to my contacts, and I added a ringtone or whatever text tone to hopefully. Picked up a block for I think 3:30 just now on DoorDash because you can't just sign on to DoorDash. Interesting. Kalina. We don't have much to do right now anyway, except loiter around the square. miss much. So, some girls asked me to take a photo for them, so I did that. It's like it. So also was just looking at DoorDash. You can't just sign on to DoorDash, and I just picked up like a half-hour block on that. I gotta start at 3 o'clock, 24 minutes. I gotta sign on to it. So, but I think I can sign on like or something like that. So it might be getting some orders coming through on that. Unless I'm able to sign on. It's nothing too crazy.
Wow.
Well, they might come out here. They might come out here again. I'm at around 5 yesterday. 5 or 6, so we'll probably have to wait until...
I'm the director of the Marshall Student Center.
You don't see that shadow, do you?
No.
Just briefly, Matt, tell Aaron, how has the COVID scenario affected your job running the student center?
I think it's interesting times that we're dealing with. Normally in a student center, then we had the ability to have events and meetings, and student organizations can come in and utilize this facility to its fullest capacity. But due to those numbers and social distancing, they're not able to do that. And so we had to ask ourselves the question to be able to say, how can we still serve the students at the University of South Florida, but to be able to do that in a way that they can benefit. And that came up to be able to have classes here within this facility. And so one of the things that we benefit from a student union is to be able to have large spaces like this. There's one to where you can have 96 students socially distanced safely in a classroom. And so a student union has transformed during this time. And so it's different, but we're glad that we can be a part of the team.
How difficult has it been to implement social distancing here at the student center?
If you go with your family to a restaurant, once you wear a mask to be able to get inside the facility, but then once you get in the facility and you sit down at a table, then you're with your family, and so you're able to sit closely, you'll be able to socialize and be able to do things as a family, even though you're out in public. Within this facility, we don't have those same regulations. I'll give credit to USF that they're doing what they can to be as safe as possible. So not only do you wear a mask and 6 feet whenever you walk into this facility, you wear a mask and you're 6 feet as you sit down at tables. And the only time that you remove your mask is whenever you're eating or in the act of dining. And so that itself is a challenge, because people come into this facility and they want to be able to treat it like it is restaurants in the area. But the thing is the university has their best interest in mind, and so we're able to do that, but still at that same point, it is challenging.
We all know about the wash your hands, wear a mask, 6 feet away. What are some unique things, and maybe just give me some quick bullet points of what you guys have done here to, help keep people safe from COVID?
Again, it's one of those things that we try to make sure that everybody's wearing a mask and they're properly socially distanced at all times. And so we have crews that travel throughout the facility to be able to make sure that we are able to talk to patrons. And so one of the things that you'll see is there's usually 1 or 2 people that are always walking through the facility to make sure that we can ensure social distancing. The other thing that we do is we have sanitary crews, and so sanitary crews travel throughout the facility to make sure that they follow up and be able to spray after our patrons. And then also dining assistance with that to be able to give extra feet on the ground, so to speak, in regards to those cleaning efforts. And then also I give credit to our custodial team. They clean throughout the day, but we also have fogging machines to where our third shift custodians totally fog this facility in every usable space every night. And so when you come into this facility in the morning, it's totally sanitized and ready to go for the next day.
Just real briefly, a brief response. How are the students and the kids, how are they dealing with the scenario?
I think for the most part, it's been great. I think it's difficult in the beginning because it's something new, but as we have conversations, they're totally receptive. They understand what's going on. It's something that they're not used to, but as we went along, we're starting to track the numbers, and less do we have to remind people, because they're just starting to understand that this is a new way of life that we've got to be able to deal with until we can get past the time of COVID.
Aaron, you got something? Does this make your job, I mean, you might ask this, but does this make your job really harder, like much harder than last year? Do you feel like you deserve a raise, or?
I wouldn't say that it makes it harder. It makes it different. And so one of the things that we'll always do within higher education and any job you're in, it's your ability to adjust. And so we just had the ability to adjust. We have staff and a university that's been able to make those changes. And so I'm proud to work for a university that's be able to think ahead and to be able to figure out ways that we can be the best team possible.
Does the university see a light at the end of the tunnel?
I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because we know that there's going to be an end. But at this point, we have to focus on the safety and the well-being of our students. And so we're taking everything one step at a time, but trying to plan ahead as much as we can.
Beautiful. All right, one thing we need.
Slow.
Yeah, it's been a it's been a challenge, but as we will discuss,
right,
we've done relatively well.
Actually, the numbers are kind of remarkable.
Yeah.
So, are you good?
Yeah, we are feeding and we are rolling.
Okay, I'm just going to do a quick clap and tell me if it's in both cameras.
A little more to your right. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great. Please spell Steve.
S-T-E-V-E.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, every university has had this challenge. What have you been able to implement that appears to be working?
Well, we, like many universities, have pursued risk mitigation procedures like required masks, physical distancing, sanitation of our facilities. But what has been unique about the University of South Florida community is this sense of personal responsibility that our faculty and our staff and our students have shown, and especially our students. So they have really been partners in this process and ensure that they were taking appropriate actions to try to minimize the impact of the virus on our campus.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the questions, which is just about every university has something in place. Is the difference here versus other universities where we see rising numbers, responsibility or irresponsibility by the students?
Well, we've also prohibited any social gatherings, and including our fraternities and sororities. So we've prohibited them from having in-person gatherings. But it's that plus so much more, because our students are really showing the willingness and the commitment to try to keep the university open and to keep us operating. And to do that, they've been compliant and been doing a great job with minimizing the virus.
If somebody violates the social gathering, what happens?
Well, we have a student conduct process that we go through, And we're not afraid to take action and show them that there are consequences to non-compliance.
Does that mean people could get kicked out of school?
People can be provisionally suspended from the university.
Has that happened yet? Have you had
Yes.
students who violated?
Yes, we
and
have.
they got kicked out?
Yes.
And that message seems to have resonated?
It has. That information has dispersed around our student community. But again, we're trying to be thoughtful and not draconian in our actions, but we're really committed to trying to create an environment that promotes health and safety on our campus, and we will insist and require that people comply with these procedures.
You have incredibly low numbers. The positivity numbers are so low. Are you fearful with numbers that low that there's a false sense of security?
Well, we're not relaxing at all. So we know the trends in the virus can shift very rapidly. So we've had 109 cases, positive cases that are disclosed to us since class began on August 24th, and that's out of about 51,000 students.
So if you do the math, we did it, and somebody did it for us, it's like
Yes.
0.0002.
0.002%.
And that number is remarkable, but does it also suggest to people, okay, so we're so cool, we don't need to worry about this, it's all working, sort of a false sense of security?
Well, we're guarding against that. We are not relaxing. We're being diligent in our efforts to continue this pattern of minimizing the virus. So we're not relaxing at all. We're staying very, very diligent.
So I know you're doing a lot of messaging. Explain to me what the messaging entails, and I'm going to pick my phone up here. There's not a person, especially a student, that doesn't have a cell phone with them.
Right.
How do you reach out to them over and over again?
Well, we have a mobile app, and it's
fraud and extortion, court scam, some something, something, something. I don't know what the rest of that sign says. I just got an order at Wing Squad to pick up Grubhub. They just put the order in at 7. Give it like another 5 minutes and then move from here. What's up?
Weren't you here yesterday?
Yeah, I've been
You
here.
were sitting in the same spot, right?
Yep.
And the day before that, you were here too?
Yep. All week. Yeah. So right now I gotta go pick up over here. But I was giving it like 5 minutes to start moving again. I just chill here.
Enjoying the tour.
Huh?
I thought you was enjoying your tour and videotaping everywhere you go.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. Just right. Well, there wasn't anything to do. Now I have something to do. So when downtime, this is my spot right here, right now. So
You want to chill here anytime?
Yeah.
It's on me. With the VIP group.
Okay.
My seat.
Move over there. afternoon, so it shouldn't take that long for them to make that. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you good. But I'm picking up for Suad.
Yeah, 1 second.
No problem.
For Ranch Squad?
Yes, sir.
The Buffalo with Ranch. There you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
He told me to enjoy, but this is not my food to enjoy. Yeah, I got water. It's in my waist pack. My waist pack carries my water. My water bottle. Why do you ask? You want to see me drink some water? thought he didn't check to see if there were any bikers coming. He was just like, let me beat this pedestrian before they start to cross the road so I don't have to wait. That's what went through his mind. Oh no, I'm good. I'm not thirsty or anything. I feel like the water right now. I might have to pee later, but I'm good for now. Thank you. Make hydration, but happy when dropping my order. Yep. All they do is wasting their gas. Alright, y'all know the deal. Arrived at my location, so we're gonna hit the BRB once I'm done locking up my bike. Oh, I don't think that's gonna work. We're about to find out. Oh, it did. Simple. And he's holding it too. He's actually holding it. Nah, that man wild. That man wild. Wait, slow down a bit. Slow down, slow down, slow down. I'm gonna film him. Slow down. Oh, his shirt says bike life too. Yeah. I love it. Bike life. I love it. Oh my God. Nah, that man wild. How the fuck he was holding
holding it and skidding with his shoe at the same time. 6 a.m. here, I still haven't slept.
I just want to see what's going to happen. That's actually true. Everyone from New York is full of shit. Exactly. Wow, that's your warning for him.
I'm a real person though. I'm not full of shit. I keep it. I forgot to bring my my marker, so I have to keep touching all these other markers and catch corona from touching one of them. Oh, spelled their name wrong, but that's okay. They get the point. Just sent them a text to let them know their food is downstairs. Yeah, that must be it. That must be it, Dale. I must admit, you know, I do stand a, you know, like to keep my distance during these times of Corona, but when Warren talks, I want to stand another 3 feet back because he's shouting. Just joking. Look, the line is still long for Krispy Kreme to order some donuts. Would you wait in this line to order some donuts? Would you wait in that line? Must be like the world's best donuts or something. Seems like it's a little more crowded here than it was like half an hour ago when we left. Not really. Not really. I'm just gonna stand here. That's what I'm doing. Standing here. Now if those people standing all along this, then it would be a problem. Or sitting all along this, then it would be a problem. I'm not sure if there is one here. If there is, then it's probably only one. But I don't think we have that here. I've heard of it. Yeah, we're waiting for content to appear.
orders, but I missed them all because I didn't hear them. It seems like I need to have the app open in the foreground or some. Because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb because I get so many notifications. Apparently I don't hear any of the audio alerts like when you get on my text messages. Because I set up an audio alert on for like when they send me a message to tell me I have an order, but I didn't hear one at all, which means that having it on Do Not Disturb is preventing me from hearing that tone.
Somebody drew a duck. So So do you guys out there get as many tripod cameras as we do over here? Because for some reason, whenever I go, oh, wasps go away. It's a protest. I don't know if it's an actual march. I don't think it's a march, but there's only so much information I was given.
Top to bottom. It needs to come down from top to bottom. And that's when someone
Supposedly it's supposed to go till 7, but photo apps.
We're gonna have choppers flying through, especially if it starts to get a decent sized crowd. So projecting is not gonna happen.
Wasn't the Hindu swastika that?
It is. It's the Chinese eternal symbol. And that's actually the symbol that they have going across the entire pillar here. It's the opposite of what the swastika is really, because the swastika is supposed to be going the opposite direction. The Chinese symbol for peace is that one. But if you didn't know any better, exactly. That is not my
I guess the scanners.
Which are?
Just keeping an eye on things. Who are you with?
Is someone paying you to do that?
No. I wish. It sounds more ominous. I'm like, I don't know, because it's like, I'm just making it for everyone's sake. So, volunteer.
Are you familiar with ESWA?
ESWA, no.
Yeah. It's a non-profit, non-government funded organization that helps to get the spiel here. But basically helps low-income workers, you know, to help them get, you know, the care, assistance that people need, especially right now. You know, more, you can put down whatever info you'd like to share here.
Sure. Totally. I always like to know everything that's going on. So. Yeah, sorry. Ah. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. What's your name? Zach. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Melody. Thank you.
Okay.
Where do you bartend?
I bartend at Orfana. It's in Fenway.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's owned by a really amazing feminist cook who does amazing things.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Check it out sometime.
Yeah, totally do.
Cheers. Good to
Cheers.
meet you, Melody.
Nice to meet you. I've doxed myself. Whatever. I guess I shouldn't be sitting in a spot where they can take pictures and see me in every shot. Fuck. I'm like sitting on the gondola. Or is it not gondola? What's the name? I forgot what it's called. Freedom Fighters Coalition? No, I'm not.
How is
Let me know if I can help. I'm here to help when I can. I don't see why not. I just feel like this is one big photo op right now. Ugh. You wanna go closer? To the guy that's being a piece of shit? I kinda don't even wanna get any screen time. Also, I'm trying not to capture stuff. Here. So I'm just gonna point this way. Someone's starting something over there.
Starting something?
Yeah.
Where?
It's the guy with the like blue hat. He's just trying to agitate everyone.
Yo, Mike. Mike.
Because as much as I like to show what's going on, I also don't want to show certain things. If some so because right now the guy is just trying to agitate everyone, and and I don't want to implicate anyone in that, or that's not what I'm here for. Sorry, I didn't ask about his hydration. It is the best emoji. I wanna hug. I would totally hug. I like hugs. Maybe he's hungry. Nah, I think he was just a dick. I hate to say it, I think every single one that is like that, they tend to have like very similar things about them, and it's, you know. I kind of wish I had taped the last one that some friends of mine got into, not a scuffle with, but like a word fight with, and the lady in it threw water on one of my friends, which, you know, isn't great when there's kind of a huge pandemic going on. But I forget what he said. He said something really funny in response. She
Ethiopian government is killing its own citizens.
Cafer بخورمش Just a quick. Cafer.
جعفر
نه
جعفر
دستمال پایین کو
جعفر جعفر الان زنگ آمد نی آره فرانسه زنگ زنگ آمد
क्या की तो नवाज दौरे में लग
As my phone falls asleep, so my friend Nick and I, we started this 3 weeks ago protest, although that's picked up lately. So I'm just gonna tell you guys that a couple things ago. Our first, too often the police have used the guise of servitude and protection in order to nation. We need to bring light to the horrors of the past and use it as a weapon to those who might placate us. Our secondary goal, fighting for one that makes neighbors, colleagues, view each other as competitors struggling, into one of love and free thought, co-reliance rather than codependent. At the end of the day, we're all in this boat together. Who wants to get a bucket?
Hi everyone.
Hey.
My name is James. I recently started the Black Faith Collective. Our mission is to feed different communities through all things food, music, and art. So we brought some food to feed the homeless. We did an event back in August, the Unity March in Cambridge. But if you guys would come out for October 10th, if you guys want to take out your phones right now, so I'll give everyone a minute to take out your phones. And just going off of that, I think it's really important that if you notice, it's just, hundreds of people in one space. We all come to these things and clap and cheer, but I think what's really important is to get to know the people that, you might start seeing every once in a while at these protests and go back home and feel good, but actually, just go around and meet some new people and collaborate. I think that's really important and will speed a lot of things up with this whole process. But anyways, now that you have your phone out, if you want to follow me at The Real Cakewalk, so The Real, all one word, The Real Cakewalk. We're looking for volunteers for October 10th. We're going to be feeding the homeless. We're going to be doing a whole bunch, and we'll be ending up here too. So we could use a bunch of volunteers. We're going to be cooking a bunch of food. Donating camping tents. So if you have old camping tents or sleep, just going to be giving those to the homeless too. So yeah, just follow me and I'll be hanging around here. If you're interested in volunteering, just coming over, say hey. I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming out.
My name is Mark Smith Brown. I am a Iraqi veteran. I served my country long years. Just to turn around when I needed help, when my head was screwed up, the military told me no, I could not get help. They pushed me away. I started to numb myself because of what I had to deal with up here, from all the nonsense that I went through when I was in Iraq. I took over 10 years for me to find myself back. Not to sit here like that man right there in that picture. Yeah. George Floyd. Watch men like him have somebody put their knee on the man's neck. I am military trained. You are not supposed to put some neck on somebody's neck for that long. And to sit there and watch them put that shit on national TV? But yes, I'm screaming to you because Massachusetts has been one of 4 or 5 of the most racist have ever been in. And I'm tired of it. I've been called a nigger every fucking year of my life. All through and middle school. Why? Because they don't think that we care, that we matter. And I'm not gonna let this happen no more. Thank you.
Woo!
apoiam em entrevistas semanais de porta a porta e de língua portuguesa, crioulo e espanhola, sem escrever como membros.
I volunteer every week on door-to-door membership canvases and encourage workers who speak Portuguese to sign up as members.
Faço porque sei que temos que trabalhar juntos e espero que vocês podem ajudar também. Obrigado.
I do this because I know we must work together, and I hope you all can help too. Thank you. And next we'll hear from Carlos. Carlos, good afternoon.
Chamo-me Carlos.
My name is Carlos.
Sou sócio de Associação de Trabalhadores.
I'm a member of Eastern Service Workers Association.
Sou de Cabo Verde, da Ilha do Fogo.
I'm from Cape Verde, from the island of Fogo.
Em Cabo Verde trabalhava como pastor.
In Cape Verde, I worked as a grade school teacher, but I didn't make much money doing that.
Por isso, fui à França e trabalhava nas obras, 12 anos.
Because of this, I went to France and lived there and worked in construction for 12 years.
Visitei a família em Cabo Verde só 3 vezes no ano.
12 years, I only went back to Cape Verde to visit my family 3 times.
Depois voltei a Cabo Verde e abri restaurante.
Then I went back to Cape Verde and I opened a restaurant.
Não ganhava muito dinheiro, mas dava para viver.
Survive.
Em Boston, agora moro em Boston, com a minha filha.
Now I live in Boston with my daughter.
Escrevi como sócio de ISO para as aulas de inglês.
I signed up as a member of ESW.
Descobri que a organização é muito mais que as aulas de inglês.
I discovered that ESWA does a lot more than English classes.
Organização de corredores para lutar para a justiça.
The organization unites working people to fight for justice.
Eu sou voluntário da organização também.
And I'm a volunteer with the organization. So, just to tell you a bit more about ESWA and what we do, Eastern Service Work, an all volunteer-run, non-government funded organization, a membership association of low-paid service workers, the work that it takes to keep this city running, but are paid 1/3 of what it takes to afford to live. SWA members and others are living on zero income right now. Their rent and utility bills. A debt that they'll never be able to repay. Some are even going back to work right now, despite the money. These problems, of course, go way beyond the pandemic. Even before the pandemic started, cost stakes as it was 50 years ago. ESWA was founded in 1977 as a new type of labor organization committed to these problems. Those who profit from the status quo divide our community, and pit us against the is to unite the many, starting at the bottom. We go door to door every single week in the hardest help to those who
double down on the catastrophic mistakes that he's made. And perhaps, worst of all, he made clear that he still doesn't have a plan to bring us out of this crisis. He even said, and I quote, "A lot of people think that masks are not good, undercutting the easiest, most effective means we have for reducing the spread of this disease. This virus is still taking nearly 1,000 lives a day. The forecasts show that those numbers are likely to climb this winter. But incredibly, Donald Trump insists that he wouldn't have done anything differently. Not one thing. Last Friday, we learned that another one of the thousands of Americans died due to this virus, and it continues to rise. And on the very same day that we reported 1,000 deaths on Friday, and the very same day, Canada reported that not one person died of COVID-19 in Canada. Trump wouldn't have done anything differently? If you're a parent in America, preparing for another day that your child can't attend school, if you're grieving the loss of a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, husband or wife, if you're a small business owner who's on the brink of total bankruptcy, who can't open or can't go back to work because the virus still is spreading in your community, how does it make you feel to hear the president say he wouldn't have done anything differently? And if he gets 4 more years, why should we expect anything to change? All the president had to offer last night, President Trump, was the same weak and feckless inaction, the same lies and empty promises that we've seen from the very beginning. He still won't accept any responsibility. He still won't offer a plan. And last night, he repeated what he said so many times before, that even if he continues to offer only failing indifference, someday the virus is going to go away by a miracle. Even if he does nothing, it's going to go away by a miracle. It won't go away like a miracle. In fact, even if we get a vaccine, will not be available for most of the population until well into the 2021. You know, so we're heading into a very dangerous autumn. The fact that the University of Washington model, which the White House has previously touted, projects that cases and deaths are going to spike this November and an additional by 215,000 Americans, they say, are going to die. Began the spike in November, but by the first of the year, 215,000 will be dead, additional. That's more than have already died. We need leadership right now to prevent that from happening. The same university the model shows, the University of Washington model, shows that if there's universal masking, these deaths could be, projected deaths could be cut in half. We could say between now and the end of the year, 100,000 lives. Let's assume they're off by half on all of this. 50,000 lives. 150,000 dead. Donald Trump's own director of CDC told us that wearing a mask is the single most important step we can take to curb this virus. Here's what he said. He said, I might go so far as to say that this face mask, and he held up a face mask, not this one, is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, end of quote. Now, I spoke with the experts today about additional steps we can take to prevent needless deaths and suffering between now and a universal vaccine being made available. Uniform national guidelines, they said, and standards on social distancing that can be applied to, in particular circumstances of states and communities based on their particular circumstance. More effective approaches on testing and tracing. If we do these things between now and January, we could save even more lives. Last night, Donald Trump indicated he has no interest in doing these things. Folks, the president's first responsibility is to protect the American people, and he won't. That's utterly disqualifying. I also spoke with the experts this morning about the paramount importance of preparing now for swift, organized, and free distribution of a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine when it arrives. And I'm profoundly grateful to the scientists and the researchers working tirelessly to ensure that a safe and effective vaccine becomes a reality as soon as possible. These scientists carry the hopes of our nation, our entire nation, and the entire world. When their work comes to fruition, and it will, there will be no doubt it will save lives. But scientific breakthroughs don't care about calendars any more than the virus does. They certainly don't adhere to election cycles. And their timing, their approval, and their distribution should never, ever be distorted by political considerations. They should be determined by science and safety alone. A vaccine would offer a way back to normalcy and a path toward better days for all of us, not only here but around the world. But it's not going to happen overnight. And once we have it, it's going to take months to distribute it to the entire population. I'm more hopeful than ever in the power of science to get us there. But one thing is certain, we can't allow politics to interfere with the vaccine in any way. Americans have had to endure President Trump's incompetence and dishonesty when it comes to testing and personal protective equipment. We can't afford to repeat those fiascos when it comes to a vaccine, when it occurs. The stakes are too high. American families have already suffered and sacrificed too much. So let me be clear. I trust vaccines, I trust scientists, but I don't trust Donald Trump. And at this moment, the American people can't either. Last week, Senator Harris and I laid out 3 questions this administration is going to have to answer to assure the American people that politics will not play a role whatsoever in the vaccine process. If Donald Trump can't give answers and the administration can't give answers to these 3 questions, the American people should not have confidence. But if they can, they should have confidence in the transparency they need to trust the vaccine and adopt it in numbers that will make a difference. First question. What criteria will be used to ensure that a vaccine meets the scientific standard of safety and effectiveness? What's the criteria? Second, if the administration greenlights a vaccine, who will validate that the decision was driven by science rather than politics? What group of scientists will that be? And thirdly, how can we be sure that the distribution of the vaccine will take place safely, cost-free, and without a hint of favoritism? The fact of the matter is, development of a vaccine is only part of the battle. Distributing a vaccine to the entire population is as complex and challenging as one of the most sensitive military operations. I've been calling for an effective distribution plan to be laid out for months. If I'm elected president, I'll begin by implementing an effective distribution plan from the minute I take office. That's what I discussed with the experts in the briefing today. They laid out a clear plan. They include a detailed timetable for when people will get the vaccine, clear delineation of priority of populations to get the vaccine, a specific means and mechanism for shipping and storing vaccine at appropriate temperatures. 2 of those vaccines, if they come forward, they have to be stored and shipped at 70 degrees below zero. The division of responsibility at every level of government has to be clear. And I will provide the leadership necessary to carry out that plan. I'll level with the American people. I'll take responsibility. And I'll support, rather than tear down the experts responsible for the day-to-day execution of the plan. I'll simply follow the science. With satisfactory answers to these 3 questions that Senator Harris and I have laid out, every American, including me and my family, can have confidence in a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine. This isn't about politics. It's about saving lives. It's about getting back to our loved ones and our friends, making sure they're safe. It's about getting our economy back on its feet, getting back to the movie theaters and restaurants and ballparks. It's about getting back to our lives and getting America up off the mat. I'm confident we can and will be united in that pursuit. No matter when that breakthrough emerges in vaccines, no matter when that hope bears fruit, that's what America does at its best. We unite, we do it together. And I'm confident we'll be able to. So I want to thank you. God bless our scientists and researchers and our frontline workers. And may God protect our troops. I'll be happy to take some questions now, if that's okay. Let me put my list here. Everybody's sitting. Okay. ABC, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You just said that when it comes to a vaccine, you don't trust Donald Trump. Is there a risk that that message, that questioning the president on a vaccine, could prevent people from trusting the science, from trusting a vaccine
your
when
dreams
they're finally
come
approved?
true? No, because they know he doesn't have any respect for scientists. He basically said it. You saw what he said when he was out in California about wildfires, and scientists don't know, and it's going to go away like a miracle. It's necessary so people can trust the vaccine. And that's why I said that you have to have this board of scientists that are going to say, this is why we think this is a good vaccine, why it's approved, and it has to be total transparency. So scientists outside the government know exactly what is being approved, the context in which it's being approved, and why it's being approved. I think it's the only thing that takes care of that.
For a vaccine to work, though, to be effective, you do need a certain amount of the population to be willing to take it.
That's right.
You're saying, don't trust the president, trust me if I'm elected. Are you
No, I'm
confident
not.
that
I'm
enough
saying-
Americans
I'm saying
will buy in?
Trust the scientist. Trust the scientist. It's one thing for Donald Trump to say the vaccine is safe. Okay, then give it to the board of scientists. Have total transparency so independent operators and scientists and companies go out and take a look at it. And what did you base that decision on? What did you do? Did you pressure the head of the FDA? Did you pressure whomever? I'm not saying he would or will, but that's what has to happen. Because you know yourself, you all know the polls better than I do. The American people right now don't trust what the president says about things relating to science.
And if the scientists say a vaccine under the president's watch is safe and effective,
Absolutely.
you will take it?
Do it. Yes. If those 3 questions I laid out can be answered, yes. Absolutely. Caitlin, CBS.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just a quick follow-up on that. You say that you don't trust the president. Does that mean you also don't trust the CDC and the FDA currently?
No. I don't trust some of the people, like the fella who just took a leave of absence from the CDC. He didn't run it, but he was the spokesperson for it. But there are some, when I met with the 7 scientists today on the screen here in this room, they told me the people that they had worked with in the CDC and the FDA and all the various agencies. And there's some very, very good people there in the ranks, the everyday folks that are not everyday, they're scientists, but the people who do the daily work in there. And there's some very, very good people. But you know from other items that they've been quashed in things they've said, and they've been pressured, the heads of those agencies, politically appointed, some of them, have been in fact moved to say, yes, we can do this or that, or this will work or that will work. It's a simple proposition. If a vaccine is ready to go, it should be totally transparent, the basis upon which that decision was made. What scientists have looked at it within the government and outside the government and said, this is a useful, safe vaccine to take. And so that's all I'm saying. And that's going to be necessary, I'd respectfully suggest, no matter what I said in this process, because all the polling data shows now, it's something like only 30-some% of American people say, if Trump said it's okay. This is the same guy that said inject bleach. This is the same guy that said, you know, you want to keep hurricanes from getting to the United States, why don't we drop a nuclear weapon on them? I mean, you know, there's a reason why they're not so certain.
A quick question on the economy. The Fed today announced that their projections for unemployment are actually going to be lower than expected. In polling, we see time and again that President Trump has an edge over you on the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I don't think I've been out of office for 4 years, and they don't, you know, it's a long time, 4 years ago. We actually created more jobs in the last 3 years of our administration than he created in the first 4 years of his administration. We actually had more equitable distribution among middle-class folks and the like. There were fewer people at risk. But I think it's a matter of my being able to communicate my position on jobs and trade and what I would do. And, you know, for example, the World Trade Organization, he loves to batter us around, and we've supported the World Trade Organization, just ruled that his trade policies were illegal. Well, guess what? We went in, what, 14, 15, 16 times at the WTO, and we won every single time. Now, why should any American remember that? That was, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So part of it is reminding people and laying out for them what my plan for economic recovery is.
But if people have questions about the economic fallout from the pandemic now, you have said that you would have acted earlier. What do you say to people who might question how the economic impact could have been different? Even if you acted earlier, the social distancing and the closings would still be in place.
No, not necessarily, because you wouldn't be having the high rates of reinfection that we have now. You wouldn't be having 1,000 people a day die. You'd be able to open. We need national guidance as the basis upon which you can open up, and it varies within state to state. So you may very well be able to open up in a rural area, not a area that is a metropolitan area, or vice versa, because of the degree to which the virus is rampant in that area. We've not said anything out. We've not laid out this administration has not laid out the criteria. There's no national criteria. What's the national criteria for opening schools? They still don't have one. You need a national criteria. And you need it to be able to be sure, excuse me, that you can open safely and securely. You can have social distancing. You can have the wearing of masks. You can have smaller classes. You need more teachers, a whole range of things. But why won't he lay out the guidance? And even when the CDC initially had stronger guidance, what happened? Talk about political manipulation. Said, no, don't put those out. Don't put those out. Because the president was then saying, by the way, testing just causes more cases to show. It's about being honest. You know, he loves to quote Churchill. love to quote Roosevelt. Well, you know, Roosevelt said in a crisis in World War II, he said it's going to get worse and worse and worse till it gets better and better and better. And the one thing you have to tell the American people, they're strong. Give it to them straight from the shoulder. They can handle anything. That's what I'll do. CNN, Jessica.
Thanks, Mr. Vice President. You mentioned you've previously called for a mask mandate, a national mask mandate. If you were elected, what steps would you take to put that in place, and how would that work?
Well, first of all, I found it fascinating the president said, and Biden didn't put in a mask mandate. I don't know how old he is, but yeah, I'm not the president. He's the president. It's like, you know, Biden's problems in these cities are inflamed. I'm not the president. He's the president. I would call all the governors to the White House and say, and because there's a question, I think it can be answered in the positive, a question whether I can mandate over state lines that every single state has to comply. Our legal team thinks I can do that based upon the degree to which there's a crisis in those states and how bad things are for the country. And if we don't do it, what happens? But I would make the case. I'd make the case why it's necessary. I'd have the scientists to lay out in detail why. And I would go to every governor, and I'd go to governors relating to Republican and Democratic governors, and I'd say, we have to have this national mandate. We must do it. And at a minimum, what I would do, I wouldn't walk around saying masks don't matter, like he said at your town hall. I think it was last night. I saw the tail end of it. That, well, masks, people don't like masks. Matter of fact, they could be worse. And I think, don't hold me to this because they didn't see it, they just saw it reported. And Stephanopoulos asked why. And he said, because waiters don't like them. Waiters touch the food and touch the mask. I mean, come on.
But what would happen if, say, a Republican governor pushed back on you on this? How do you get buy-in when it's become so politicized? Would you sign an executive order?
Well, the question is whether I have the legal authority as president to sign an executive order. We think we do, but I can't guarantee you that yet.
But if you did, you would.
If I did, I would.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Number 5, I have to call on my hometown paper, the News Journal. Meredith?
Access to the virus first, how would that work?
Laid out by the experts I spoke with today. And the National Science Foundation is coordinating with the CDC and other agencies. They indicate that the first group of people that should get the vaccine, if and when it is available, are people at the greatest risk. And that includes everything from nursing homes to people with serious pre-existing conditions that would cause people to be in real trouble. A lot of those people happen to be black and brown. The degree of exposure would go first, though, I would argue, but I'd have a scientific board lay it out for me. It would go first, as laid out for me today, to first responders, doctors, and nurses, the people who we're most needed to have available to deal with our crises, health as well as physical crises in our communities. That would be the first, and it would move to the least. Now, one thing that hasn't happened yet, and I don't want to, and I am not a scientist, although I hope I'm well informed on this issue. There have been no tests yet on children. They indicated to me in 2021 to be able to do the kind of testing on children. Children are less likely to die, although they can. And it's more likely that their teachers and the elderly grandparents, et cetera, would be exposed. So the first would go to the children.
And today the government released a plan on how they would, or a loose plan on how they would distribute the vaccine. If you're elected, would you reverse course on the plan that the federal government has already put in place?
No, they haven't put one in place for real yet, number one. Number two, I haven't seen the detail of it. It may be. It may be a very good plan as is. But what I would do is make sure that I brought in all of the experts to make sure what is the best and most rational means of distribution. Now, look, there are two types of vaccines being worked on now. One is an RNA model that are done by two of the operations. I think Moderna and I forget which one, who has the other one. And the other is an adenovirus, which is a way to generate the immune system to respond. One changes the cell structure. The one that deals with the mRNA, that requires 2 injections, and it requires to be stored at 70 degrees below zero. So in addition to all this, there are mechanical issues as to how and where the vaccine, assuming, let's say the Moderna one is picked, assuming that the vaccine is approved, it's a very, very, very significant, difficult problem of how you distribute that vaccine. For example, you have to ship it in bulk if it's the mRNA version. And that means thousands of 1,000 at a time kind of thing. That means it's going to go to hospitals and major medical distribution centers. It's not going to go to your doctor and you can't show up at Walgreens like I did I didn't, my doc gave it to me, but my flu shot. But I used to get my flu shot at Walgreens. You can't do that because you can't do it in small lots. You have to have 2 shots, 2 of them. And so my generic point is there are a lot of not only what is safe to do, but distribution issues that are consequential and matter a lot. And so it's not like, by the way, if I told you tomorrow, if I were president and said, we have approved the following 2 vaccines or 1 vaccine. Well, the vaccines that are likely to be approved so far start off with a group of 10,000 doses all the way to 60,000 doses. Well, there are millions of people. It's going to take, and then you can get up to several million, but it takes time is what I'm saying. And it has to be done fairly and well. It can't be based on your tax returns, figuratively speaking. It's got to be based on who is most vulnerable. Who is most vulnerable? Okay? Thank you all so very, very much. Thank you.
Mr. Biden, do you plan to name any cabinet positions before the election?
150,000 dead. Donald Trump's own director of CDC told us that wearing a mask is the single most important step we can take to curb this virus. Most important step. Let's go!
Attendez là, et bien, quand nous m'attendons pour ça, mieux, des libérations pour Jean-Pascal Alexandre, et bien, nous connaissons un policier BLTS qui gagne 8 mois déjà en prison pénitentiaire. Oh, ma chance semaine. Aidez-nous à partager la live là, s'il vous plaît, ou soit Média One.